Eurobox presents Bergthora Saga, a heathen revenge in a Christian Iceland, written by Reiner Prochaska. In Bergthora Saga, Reiner Prochaska weaves a powerful and richly textured narrative that blends historical fiction, Norse mythology, and the spiritual transformation of a society in flux. Set across Iceland, Greenland, and beyond from the late 10th century to the 14th century, the novel masterfully follows Bergthora Bjornsdottir, a complex and compelling protagonist whose journey of loss, resilience, and justice challenges the boundaries between pagan legacy and Christian beliefs. Let's meet the author, Reiner, who's today connected with us as our special guest to present his new published book. Hi, Reiner, welcome and thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me, Ginevra.
So first of all, tell us, what was your inspiration to start writing this saga?
In 2018, we were traveling home to Germany, and we spent 5 days in Iceland on the way there, and sort of seeing the culture, going to different museums. The one that really stands out particularly is the Snorrastufe. It's the museum in Reykholt where Snorri Sturluson, who wrote the prose Edda, which is basically Norse mythology in prose form, and preserved it for our generations. I really kind of fell in love with the culture and the rich literary history that the Icelanders have. So when I came back, I did more research, and that's when I wanted to write a story about a saga that is dedicated to a woman, because most of the sagas, well, actually all of the sagas are named after men, because the men were the ones who were doing things that women were inspiring behind the scenes. And I wanted to create a book where the woman was the protagonist.
And how is the book structure? What are the special characteristics that we can highlight in this book?
So one thing I really thought about when I was trying to figure out how to structure the book was, most of the sagas are written 100 years, 200 years after the fact, by Christian monks who were literate. And so we have this sort of situation where we have stories that are set in pagan times, but written by men from a Christian perspective. So I kind of wanted to create a story where we see sort of the dichotomy between those two things. So we have the frame narrative in 14th century Iceland. Helgi, an Augustinian monk, is tasked by his abbot to write the saga about his ancestors, Bergthora. And then we get the saga that Helgi is writing, again, basically 350 years later from a male Christian perspective. But then most of the story are the first-person accounts of the actual people in the late 10th, early 11th century, so that we see sort of the difference between what he's writing about centuries later and what actually happened during the actual time. And sometimes it overlaps and it is the same, and sometimes it's totally different. So to create some literary tension, if you will, between those two perspectives as well.
And beside Bergthora, do you have a favorite character in the saga?
I was going to say Kjartan. He's a very interesting person in that he's trying to save his family's farm by, as a young man, going to Constantinople to be with the Varangian Guard. But I think Egileif, the seeress, who, like Bergthora, practices the what we would consider witchcraft today, I think is a very interesting character, because she's not a bad person, but she is so in love with Egil that she sort of abandons her morality to do all these horrible things just to win his love, which is sort of a very difficult task that she doesn't ever quite accomplish. So I think she is another really fascinating character for me, because she's sort of the antithesis to Bergthora in that she has the same sort of pagan skills, but she's not using them for a good purpose like Bergthora is trying to do.
It's always really interesting to listen to the answers when you don't ask this kind of question to the public, but to the writer himself. So, was it challenging for you to balance historical accuracy with fictional storytelling?
Yes, and it always is. I write a lot of historical fiction for the stage, and my previous novel was a historical novel too. I do a lot of research. I ended up reading 25 books and probably more than 120 scholarly articles about all kinds of things set, in Iceland, Greenland in the 10th and 11th century. But it's always a challenge not to allow all those historical facts to overpower the story. The story needs to be in the foreground, and the history is in the background, sort of setting the scene for the story to unfold, so that the reader feels that she's getting sort of the story and seeing a world that's believable from a historical perspective without feeling that it's a university lecture.
Exactly, you did a great job, and the reading in the end is really, really pleasant. So, thank you very much again, Reiner, for being with us today. And we want to wish you best luck with your book.
Thank you.
With unforgettable scenes, poetic detail, and historical depth, Bergthora's Saga is a vivid and visionary saga that reclaims female agency within the spirit of the Old Norse tradition. Bergthora's Saga, written by Reiner Prochaska, is now available in bookstores and digital platforms. It's a publication by Eurobox.